over there? Boom. Okay, that's it.
Yes.
That was fast today. We're live. So just before you get going there, Paul, welcome everybody. This is the OpenExO Developer Network call. We meet here every 2 weeks. We're currently meeting at 8 a.m. Pacific time on Fridays. However, in the next meeting, it will be the first time that we try a 2 time zone meeting slot. And I'll be working on the logistics of that and update meeting invites and things. And so be thinking about anybody that might be in your region or near your region that hasn't been able to come because the time zone isn't working out. And we're going to provide an avenue for that in the next call. That's the first little bit of housekeeping. Second bit of housekeeping, these stream live on YouTube. Then later, we download them and we propagate them all across all the other appropriate media channels and video on demand hubs like media.exo world live, economy.openexo.com, and a bunch of different places that now all of that media content syndicates. So be aware that the things you say here are being recorded. They will be saved. The reason we do that is, again, to get that long tail of viewership so that everybody can sort of see what's going on. There's a little bug flying around here trying to annoy me. And the purpose of this meeting is to start to bring together all the different people around our network. And it is vast, right? We're talking like 140 countries, 132 countries, 49 languages. So there are people everywhere. Many, many of them are developing products and services and businesses and networks of their own. And we want to be able to start to give paths for these things to interface, throw up a big EXO word there, together. And so one of the ways we're doing that is by creating APIs. Another way we're doing that is by creating a blockchain economy with an enterprise developer API available to it, right? So that you can interface with that blockchain if you'd like to embed EXOs, the native currency of the OpenExO community, into your whatever you do. So we've got so many awesome opportunities. That's what this group is about. I don't have any idea what things we're going to dream up, but I know that if we create a space where we can have those conversations, maybe some really amazing things will happen. So the format of this meeting is that we go through project updates. First, we focus on the core projects, which are things like platform, economy, and other. Then we go to community. So Paul, that's when, and welcome Paul to your first one of these. You'll get to talk about what you're doing and share those ideas that you were going into. Sylvia has some, Gerardo has some. I know Nikki's working hard on the economy and Eric's working hard on the economy. So we'll get to hear all that now. I talked a lot today just to kind of, again, refresh why we're all here. And I hope you enjoy it. I've been enjoying seeing people start to come together. And like I said, I know we've got a whole group of people in other time zones that want to be a part of this. So we're going to make a way for that to happen. So with that, I'd like to first get the platform updates, then the economy updates. So that's Javi, Antonio, Suhar, Eric, and then Nikki. And then we'll go over to you, Paul, and then Sylvia.
Okay, should I start?
Please.
There are not too many updates on the platform because we have been focused on fixing some bugs, important bugs related to the flow to join the OExO Foundation certification. So in the last week and a half, we've been focusing in fixing some bugs. In my side, apart of this usual support to the community, I've been also focused on IT stuff instead platform one because we are checking some tools to improve our relation with the platform, which one of these is intercom. So I've been checking some features to improve that, related also with the way we manage the mails in HubScout. So that's my updates. Apart of this, well, we have launched the 3 certification programs from April. One is the OpenExO consultant, other one is the Trail from Philippines consultant, and also the coach one. So that's it.
Okay, who's next, please? Antonio?
Hi all. Well, as Javi Pena said, we have been fixing some bugs. Also, we have been analyzing where to set the OExO wallet into the platform. we don't know still if what's the best option is set it as a submenu on tools or just set up as a menu, a side menu into the circles feed. We are still analyzing, as I said. We also took the feedback from Nikki and improved the UX of the event banner, and also improve the UX with the newcomer people, because they were confusing when they were choosing in the selector the English or Spanish OExO Foundation certification. So we set some flags with the country flag and the language. So we hope that the people don't have any mistake anymore with those changes, and drop some work from Javi Pena support and take off the support work from him. And that's it from my side.
Okay, Suhar, and then I'll give a brief update too on the platform this time. So go ahead, Suhar.
Okay, guys. From my part, I have been working on several maintenance tasks related with the email of me.openexo.com, which is already working again. And during this morning, I have been working on several tasks for maintenance related with the database server that we are using for the platform, because we were reaching out the free space on the storage on the Amazon instance. So I have been fixing that and creating new volumes and so on. We have been working too on a bug which is related with the coupons and the payment flow, which is related with the 100% coupon, which is going to give user a total discount for the courses. It has been fixed. We don't need to go to Stripe to create these kind of payments. All these guys that are going to use this kind of coupon are going to be able to join the journey and so on. The last thing is related with the API for the opportunities, which is about to be finished. But I didn't have the needed time during this week because of this kind of important bugs. For the next week, it's going to be released. I think that everything is done.
Okay, great, thank you. My update is pretty quick here. About 10 days ago, I did this. These are the release notes that I got from Suhar and from Antonio. And they are the combined release notes for February and March of 2021, because I got behind on putting out the release notes. And I just want to call this out. Everyone really should go to the platform and check out this link, because you kind of need to know what's going on. And it talks about some of the things that the guys just updated on, because there's 14 days between these meetings. But the pace of updates and innovation on the platform is consistent over time. I think we're doing a great job. The primary focus right now for the development team that you see on the call here, that's Suhar and Antonio, and is on these APIs. And now we get pulled away from that from time to time to work on things like you just heard, bugs, issues that come up. But right now, the primary core team focus is on opening up the marketplace and opportunities via API. That's going to allow us to take in the odd 20 pages of customer feedback we have from the community on the marketplace and begin to actually act on some of that stuff, even pushing things through to the primary website. I'm really excited about this particular set of changes to open up opportunities for our community through the marketplace mechanics, improve the marketplace mechanics. I mean, really, people were I'll call it quite generous with their feedback. And so we have a lot to work with. And so I really appreciate that. And then lastly, and I'm not going to demo it today, but I really want people to remember that about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we launched the APIs for the OExo's blockchain. and they're available through the new Exo's core wallet as a primary development interface, and the Exo's full node as a deployable server-side interface. It's awesome. Like, you really want to check it out if you're in development and you're thinking about how to integrate Exos into whatever it is that you do. So that's my update for today, and on the platform side. And so next, let's get out and talk to the community project, or Nikki next. Nikki, how's it going over there on economy?
Hey there, thank you. We have so much going on with the 30 doubling challenge having launched just last week. We've got people who have already gotten to the top of the leaderboard. They're basically 30 doublings into earning 10,000 exos. And what that means is that there's more engagement than ever on the platform. And so we're getting a lot of people who are navigating all these things we've talked about. So far, not a lot of complaints, which is awesome. And the only thing I really wanted to bring up this week was there's some branding issues still on Discord and on the Block Explorer and Heat Map. I believe that's Najib's domain, but in case it happens to cross over to anybody here, the welcome button on Discord, the announcements button on Discord, and the tip bot need to be updated, because
All three of those are Fluid Chains and Najib's team.
Perfect.
So, and they're the whole
You guys are
of
off
Fluid
the hook.
Changes. Yeah, the whole of Fluid Changes is working on a particular set of projects around economy right now. So getting that in there shouldn't be a problem. They're not here today because one of the bigger dev meetings that the blockchain team has every week is with our upstream project Block Core. That happens at the same time as this one. So we never get any of the blockchain devs, which is another issue with the timing of this meeting. But anyway, we'll solve that another day.
I have a question for Nikki, if it's okay.
Sure.
Yeah, go for it.
In the challenge, I don't know if there is a bug or something, but the numbers went down.
Yes, that's
and there are some doubles too.
Okay. Yeah, there are two things with that. The numbers going down is a verification step. So we've had somebody going through and verifying that each submission is accurate and applicable. Some people are going over. They're basically saying, okay, it's more than 3 of these, or more than 10 of those, or more than 1 of those. The terms and conditions, excuse me, it's early for me too. The terms and conditions will be updated, and we'll start to publicize those so people aren't as confused. So that's why the numbers went down.
Are you going to give feedback so people can have a track of which activities are counted?
Yes, we're going to do a weekly email, which will give sort of a synopsis of what's gone down, what needs to change, what the actual numbers that we're counting and qualifying are. And then we'll make sure that each of those steps are handled. What was the second point that you brought up? There was something else.
There are some doubles.
Okay, yeah, doubles. That's because people are signing in with a different username or a different email address. And so we've got a couple of people that are duplicated. And so they just need to know to sign in with the same display name and the same email address each time. And if those are off, then you get an extra addition.
Ideally, they're using whatever email they registered on the OpenExo platform with.
Well, hopefully that's the email that they can get paid by these tokens.
Yeah.
So we'll be clarifying those as they come up. So thank you. That's great feedback.
Thank you, Nikki.
Awesome. Okay, so next we'll go to Paul and Sylvia.
Thank you. So my idea is to bring the corporate X-ray that we developed to this platform. And one of the reasons is that firstly, our own community can now, if they have a company, can now assess themselves, how future ready they are. And secondly, through our community, we can reach out to companies of their relationships. Once we do that, and those companies have to pay in OExOs, then they automatically will be part of this community, and that we can grow the community now with companies. So that was my idea. And for people who probably haven't seen the thing that we worked on and validated meanwhile, is this one. I don't know if you can see it.
Let me find my other window and double check. Yes, we do see it, Paul. Thank you.
So what you actually see here, and it's not surprising to you guys, is on the X axis you see the attributes. I changed the attributes in terms of assessment, so not the attributes itself, but how do you assess them, and how do you measure them. So each and every attribute has a way. So that is important because I think that, and based on our experience with companies, that for instance, experiments are really important for companies to scale and to grow fast. And of course, algorithms, leverage assets in the future, I think will be mainly platforms. In the current surface that we have, that is not reflected. So just a couple of examples there. And then the most important thing is that you can have as many attributes. That doesn't guarantee that you can become a 10x company if your organization is not ready for that. So what we did is developing a y-axis focusing on organizational contributors, not attributes, contributors. So for instance, psychological safety or ubiquitous leadership, diversity, just to mention a couple. And the abbreviation proud and brave, proud is inwards, so most focusing on the company itself, whereas the other ones are more focusing outside the company, tapping into what we say the abundant world. And then also in the discussions that I had with Salim so far, I stopped talking about massive transformative purpose, but inclusive massive transformative purpose, because that inclusiveness is reflected in the organizational contributors, the proud and brave attributes. That is and to give you just a little example, if you are looking in the fishing world, the trawlers that are going out and fishing, they are packed with all kind of, let's say, latest technologies to spot fish, to have satellite connections, to have algorithms, to navigate, etc. They are, in my opinion, floating OExOs. And they are becoming 10x because of all those new technologies. But are they inclusive? And are they really contributing to a better world? I don't think so, because they are ruining the oceans, the bottoms, at whatever, you know. So in my opinion, that is not inclusive, but it is massive transformative, but in the wrong way. So in including the inclusiveness, you probably can scrutinize now a massive transformative purpose of a company. And that is more or less reflected in that organizational vertical. So meanwhile, we did a lot of companies that we surveyed, and here you see what the result is. If you do that, then you can position now, because it's two-dimensional, a company in one of those quadrants. All the companies so far that we surveyed are ending up in the scarcity and efficiency quadrant. And what we pivoted to, instead of making it negative, it's the improvement is the green area. So we are focusing on the improvement. And our dream is, and we only can do that if we have enough data, and this platform can help us to bring those data, is that we now can, based on the DNA of that company, we now can see what kind of genes are not good, are not good enough. And what we can do now is tailoring packages of activities to help that company to scale better, to improve. to whatever, they can do to become a better company, an OExO, if you will. That also gives rise to the discussion, do we need a 10-week sprint? If you have this DNA, this corporate X-ray, then probably we can help a company way faster than what we do now, focusing on those things that are not good according to this survey, this outcome. And I want to give that to the community to gather data, and that the community also can expand it into their own network. And then we can talk about a price for a company to pay this open OExO community for the survey and the reports that are coming out. So the reports are pretty granulated like this. The survey is developed and used on SOGO survey, which is a platform specifically meant for these kind of surveys. And they have a lot of reports, but not the reports that I really would like to have. And so there are two things. Firstly, we have to think about developing an API connection with SOGO survey. They do have those facilities. And secondly, that we have to think, if we have enough data, to think about the reporting out, including suggestions for a company. Well, if you have this profile, then probably this package fits to you. And that leads, in my opinion, immediately in our community to people who have the expertise in those areas.
Yeah, that's excellent, Paul. Thank you for the sort of the business overview side on what you're creating there. How do you imagine integration with the platform would look like, or the APIs, or what would be kind of your ideal, if you could imagine the ideal future state? Would it be in the menus? Would it be, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, in the menus. I would say
Okay.
in the menus, so that you can click now, do the survey, you click on that survey, and then you automatically get a link from SOGO survey to complete that survey. So
Okay.
that survey also includes in what region you are, what kind of company, what kind of position do you have in the company who is completing that. We also have gender. So now we can make all kind of correlations and interesting analysis. For instance, does a company improve better if they have more women in leading positions, or is it related to age? And I even went so far to include sleep quality, and I took that off. Took that out because it was a bridge too far for a lot of people. But it is an indicator. If a company is over-exhausted and people are working there, they probably make wrong decisions.
Well, sorry to interrupt you. Let me show you something real quick, just as to illustrate a question that I have so that it's clear. This is our platform, and under here, we have tools. And right now, if you go over to this thing called the OExO dashboard, right, you'll notice that you can actually create a survey, and there are multiple survey types. I'm not suggesting we would bury this one this far down, this many links, but this capability
We're not seeing your screen, Kent.
Oh,
pardon me.
There we are. Sorry, thank you, Nikki. So this is the Create Survey tool that you get to when you go here and you go to the OExO dashboard and you click the purple button at the top, and it allows you to launch an instance of an OExO consultant version and the OExO standard version. Of course, these are quite different from what you have there, but the interesting thing about it is that it allows the certified OExO consultant to use this as a tool to launch the survey to other people, to share it, to receive back the data, The data goes into the platform, the data goes into the user, it's downloadable via CSV, you get a unique URL and all that stuff. So also those types of things are interesting to you in this concept, or are you really just looking?
So no, I would love to have it in here, and we developed this one because the current OExO does not really measure what's going on. Usually people don't understand the terminology. So what are you measuring? We don't know really who is completing those surveys, what kind of position they have in the company, you name it. There is a lot of things that we don't know. And so what are we measuring is not really clear. So that was the reason that I completely redeveloped it to give more dimensions in it, more granularity, so that we now can develop, because that is the end goal, specific packages for those companies. So kind of a gene editing.
Got it. So good news is all the people are here on this call that do all of the platform integration work. So what I would suggest perhaps as a next step is, Paul, if you could connect with Javi Pena, who's here on the call, just in a, it doesn't have to be long, or whenever you're ready, just have a brief one-on-one. And I showed the integration points because I want to understand there's probably stages here. So there's like a low-hanging fruit thing. We're going to just put it in the drop down and have people go over there. And it's a community operated survey. Right now, we want to talk about where the data goes and how that benefits everyone and things like that. Because if you're integrating into the community, there has to be some path. Not saying you have to share the data explicitly, because that would be privacy concerns, all kinds of problems. But anyways, let's work through some of those questions together and see where it goes. I think that'd be a great next step if you're.
Yeah, I will do that with Javier and Javier, and then take it from there.
Awesome.
And also, the latest discussion that we had in the WhatsApp group about doing the idea of Salim to do a survey for the Fortune 100, and I saw the survey that Chandler developed. I think, well, we are making ourselves ridiculous if you do that. How can you measure that?
Let's hang on. Let's not call someone else's work ridiculous, but there's a 6-year history with that project. And so happy to enter into that debate and find out what we can do to help that team continue to improve. I think they've done good work, but there is some really powerful data there that we've been able to leverage. But anyways, I'm not here to defend that.
Okay.
I just want to make sure we'll be respectful of the hard work they're doing. And there's a whole chapter of the book that's based around that 6 years of university research backed and vetted work. So we'll get into that, but happy to engage. Not trying to push you off, but it probably wouldn't be appropriate for this call, and I'd want to get Chandra in because it's not something I could proxy for him. They've worked hard, and Celine probably as well. Okay, so next we've got Sylvia, who is still here. Sylvia's got some, and Gerardo have some interesting projects going on. So Sylvia, Gerardo, I don't know what order you guys want to go in. Or...
Hello to everyone. Thank you for having me again. I'm happy to hear about the advancement in all different projects. Do you hear me well first?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So me and Gerardo work on OExO super platform concepts, or also called digital ecosystem concept, where we make use of existing already tools that can help us automate the attributes of the OExO methodology, so that existing businesses and new businesses can dock into our platform and make use of meta interfaces as possibilities to become more adaptable and share the value that they create in the organization. So we are close to the end of our work. It is a kind of a rough concept of how it may look like. So I think we need 1 more week. Gerardo can confirm it, and then we can present this rough idea. And we look forward to have a discussion of what we think might be possible. We look forward to having feedback on what we can kind of overlooked. It will be really interesting to see if we can build this. Yeah, because the way we see it now, it's like to have this digital ecosystem like a mothership for companies, for SMEs, where we can make leverage of the attributes, get insights into their businesses, construct different layers of insights from data so that we can navigate change as an ecosystem. Because I think businesses of the future will be more ecosystem based. So their projects, internal projects, will actually flow through different other companies. And I also started thinking of not anymore project managers, for example, but of ecosystem managers. So because of this interconnectedness, because of IoT, I think things will become so dynamic, so that businesses will leverage ecosystem effects. So they will kind of be more alert into this opportunity to open more the black boxes of their businesses and connect more to partners and create ecosystems on their own. The idea of the platform will be to let the businesses create this, their ecosystem on our platform. So it will be like an ecosystem of ecosystems. So let's see if this is technically possible with the means that we have today, because at the end of the day, it would really make sense to tap into the value sharing. This is the idea, to kind of spread value sharing, to make it more inclusive, more diverse.
Yeah. So just to add, we are thinking also in the future of consulting. So it's like having a platform ecosystem that leverage all the OpenExo consultant and coaches with data assessments and intelligence using cloud quantum computing to 10x our services.
Okay. Excellent. So sounds like you're getting close to kind of that MVP level, and I remember getting a note from, I think you, Gerardo, on setting up a chat. You had some questions, so yeah. I'll look forward to that. Okay, great. So these are thank you, Paul, and thank you, Sylvia and Gerardo. Those are two wonderful examples of community-based projects that we should all be able to find ways to support one another and interact and leverage the OpenExo community. This is great. So it's exactly why I wanted to have these calls. So we have a few minutes left today, and what we'd like to do next on the call is always the same thing. Sometimes this takes the rest of the time, sometimes we're done early, but the rest of this time is if you have kind of a thing that has been blocking you, a thing that you need, maybe it's an announcement, just something that you need to get out that needs a next step, and you're not quite sure what that next step would be. I mean, this would be a great time to raise your hand and ask that. I'm going to go and check the YouTube channel as well to see if there's anything there. I always do try to pull that in if there's anybody watching there. There are no questions there right now. So that's how we'll use the last bit. So this is kind of what we call the agenda round. So if you have an agenda item that's been spurred by all these project updates, this would be a great time to bring it up. And I'll just go by show of hands. The virtual hand or your actual real hand is sufficient. Paul, yes.
Kent, is there a kind of a roadmap where we are going with this?
There is not yet. It's something that we need to develop, because we wanted to kind of know if we give updates on the platform and we give updates on the APIs for the economy and the platform, and we bring in and invite community members who are developing their own projects and things they want to interact, I think we could start to see a roadmap. So for example, Sylvia and Gerardo, they've got a project they've been working on for some time. They're ready to start selectively demoing an MVP in the next weeks. So we could get that on a community roadmap. I think that'd be wonderful. And then that raises the awareness. So that's a really great question, Paul. And I figured something like that would emerge from this work.
Yeah, and I also suggested Salim to dedicate a paragraph or a chapter even in the new book about this community, how it grows,
Oh,
and that
cool.
it, yeah, and
Great
because
idea.
this is a utility token, and that is something different than what we see out there. And what
It
can you
is.
do with that?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think we have to really seriously think about it. There's so much opportunity.
I have said something quite similar. So I think we're speaking the same language there, because what I told, and you'll hear Salim say this sometimes now. I said, you know, Salim, the most EXO thing we've ever built is the EXO economy, right?
Yeah.
Because it's literally an EXO by default, not even by design, but by default. You cannot not make it an EXO, and or it won't exist. And the reason most token economies fail is because they don't do what we did first, which is build a community.
And in addition, that's my last question. In addition to that,
Sure.
Kent, I think that we, and I'm happy to help you with that we have to write a white paper about it.
That would be amazing. Have you read the EXO Economy Business Overview?
Yeah. But I really want to go to a kind of a white paper.
No, I know. No, like another kind of more dig in, scientific, pull in research. And I completely am with you. And, you know, and Peter in our community is Peter Christoph. Yes. He's been trying to kick off something called EXO Research. I actually think that this would be an amazing potential project to attempt to pull in Peter and that group that says they want to do and drive meaningful research into this. I think that'd be an incredible opportunity if you and I can somehow maybe get a one-off with Peter and bang our heads together and see if we can come up with something. That'd be incredible.
Okay, I will take initiative here.
Okay, and yeah, and ping me. I want to be on that call for sure, and we'll probably we might pull Nikki in too, because from a marketing perspective, she can help us with some of the internal marketing and PR around that, so we can attract all the right people.
Yeah, and that was the basis of the third birthday party, was basically establishing the use cases of people who are already walking the talk and making an example of this. And so now we've got some use cases that we can start to share around as well.
Oh yeah, and the map. Angelo's been working on that map, and I know we've had some submissions. And then Paul, once I get, it's kind of a funny thing, this, like when you think about utility, I've been working on it so long, people ask me, what can you use the token for? And I can start to rattle off some things, but it's not until I get going, and I don't know how to explain it, but once I get into the groove, and I'm like, oh, and this, and we did this, and we did this, and there's all these projects that are going on that are leveraging the token. There are many. And so it's just a matter of, to your point, kind of researching what we've actually done on ourselves and then pulling that together and supporting that. And then there was a document that just came out called, I'm really still mad at Masari Research for doing this, but it's called the Social Token Bible. And it's actually really good. And there's a section in it that I think describes us very, very well. You know, we've been building this for years, but it's nice to see some industry research coming out that's supporting kind of the actions we took. You know, in hindsight, it's supporting us, and I have no sway over them at all. So it's good to see that, but it explains this sort of, they've come up with whether you agree with it or not, they've come up with an ontology of 3 types of social token. And our token in economy is actually a hybrid between 2 of them. And so it's still a very unique beast in the marketplace, but we're starting to see this kind of validation. And in fact, I believe, based on my analysis, I believe that we may be the largest token economy of its kind on the planet, even though we're very quiet about it. But I think that in general, we may just be. And once we hit that Uniswap listing in the near future, that will be surfaced.
Right. So yeah, and the reason that I'm mentioning that, Kent, is I worked on a new framework for economy, and in the end, it goes to these kind of communities that are, I would almost say, self-sufficient, and so that is what we are going to see around the world. So in the new economic model that I'm working on, this is in the core. And
I've been favoring the use of the word regenerative lately. So it is an economy that operates economically. So we've tokenized an existing economy. That's the economic activity of our community members, leveraging their capabilities to support each other and their clients. And then you tokenize that, and now you've got that. But we've built a private, somewhat circular economy to start and test the waters, make sure things work, you know.
Yeah.
And then later, and I used to call this a natural public offering, but I got in trouble with the attorneys, so I can't use that. So I said, we'll do an NPO one day. And they're like, and I said, but it'll be the anti offering, because we won't offer it. They'll take it from us. You see, I said, they will pull us into the public markets, and that's how we'll know to go. That'll be the signal. And I didn't know how long that was going to take. Would it be 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? I don't know. It's looking like 3 and some change. So
well, I think that the time of IPOs and those kind of things is over, because it is a completely new dynamics.
That's
and
right.
If we can be a kind of the front runner in that, then probably the rest of the world will follow.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I have to get in another meeting. It was a pleasure, and see you. Is this every week?
Every other week.
Every other week. Okay,
yes.
Perfect. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Paul. Great talking to you today.
Bye.
Cheers. With that, I think if anybody, do we have any more hands up, virtual or physical? Last call, and otherwise I'm just going to give everybody 10 minutes back, and maybe for once in the last month I won't be late for my next meeting. Everybody who meets with me knows they're like, can't. But yeah. All right. Well, I think we're good for today. I'm going to end the live broadcast now, and I'm going to say thank you all. Amazing work, everybody. I feel a little bit of shift and change happening here, and between this and what's going on in OExO Economy Core, and what's going on with the march toward Uniswap, and what's going on with the platform as a whole, the community growth. Oh man, I mean, there's just so many things. The book, we've got events coming up. Please see us in one of the next OExO Economy town halls. Go to economy.openexo.com to find information about that. There's an events page somewhere, but Nikki, you'll have to put a link to that on the economy site. If it's not there already, I'm sure it is. And on almost all of our sites these days, you'll find video hubs. Those video hubs are where we're aggregating all the content from the different areas all over the network and sharing it back with you. This morning, for example, Kevin Allen ran a show about the future of solar with Fabrice Testa. It was great. I really had no idea. I've known Fabrice Testa for many years. I had no idea that he was doing all of that. And so it was fantastic to hear that from our community this morning. And I liked the future of solar and the other one a lot. So I'm going to really be encouraging Kevin and trying to support him, going out and finding other things. So Sylvia, for example, if you've got the future of quantum, you should go find Kevin, right? And talk to him. Gerardo, you've done a boatload of work on the future of agriculture and urban agriculture. You should go find Kevin and tell him that you'd like to do that. You know, don't wait for us to come to you, because there's like so many things happening. We might not get there quick enough. But man, seeing that kind of stuff from our communities, and Kevin working so hard to service this, and then us syndicating it out of all the media channels. This is exactly a huge part of what the OExO, what we call the core, or the company itself and its teams exist to do, is to shine that spotlight on all the creators out there. So anyways, super excited about that. And this meeting is another version of that. So with that, I think we're done. Thank you so much, everybody. Have an amazing day.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.